morning.
All right. Do
It's
you
all
want to do
yours.
the intro?
This is all yours.
Okay.
I'm sitting here.
Sounds good.
I'm decoration.
Hey guys, welcome back to Telltale. I'm Emily.
I'm Greg.
And today we are going to, I will be talking at Greg about the Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie. So I've been wanting to read this one for a long time. And Salman Rushdie is still living, barely. His last assassination attempt was in 2022. Unfortunately, this book in particular has gotten him basically fatwa'd by Muslim and Islamic groups because of him being a very staunch atheist. And he has written a lot of books that kind of poke fun at or question a lot of religions and religious concepts and theologies, particularly the Muslim community and Islamic community. And that's basically what this whole book is about. So really controversial author. Yeah, last assassination attempt was in 2022 during a speaking engagement. He did survive. I believe he was stabbed. And I believe he was stabbed, and he did end up having to go to the hospital and was in critical condition, but made recovery. I don't know if it was really considered a full recovery. I think he does have some lasting damage from that one. And I believe he had 2 other attempts, but I can't remember now off the top of my head.
I don't either. I just remember this book you're talking about when that came out.
Yeah.
Instantly, worldwide, there was an alert because of all the Muslim groups, I believe.
Yeah, a lot
that wanted him dead.
Yeah, they really wanted him dead. So
he had to disappear and lay low for a long time.
Yes,
because they were serious.
Yes, and he still kind of is. He's not someone who does a lot of public engagements in the first place. So in 2022, that was kind of one of his first for a good long while. And of course, then he ended up getting injured anyway. Mm-hmm. So, Satanic Verses. It took me a long while to figure out why they were so angry. It probably into about part 2 of the book, because the book's kind of split up into 3 or 4 parts. Okay. Part 2 is when they start actually getting into some of the meat and bones of it. The whole premise of the story is 2 actors, one who is a theater and TV actor, and the other who is a movie star in Bollywood, basically. Both of them have Indian Muslim or Hindu Muslim descent, and Indian-ish, around there, are falling from the sky. Because they were on a plane hijacked by terrorists, that blew up. And they were the only 2 survivors. They're falling from the sky. And in the midst of it, the movie star suddenly has this, epiphany that he's an angel or something, or can at least produce a miracle. And so he does. The 2 of them end up landing safely in the English Channel, and then the movie star spreads the water so they can walk through like Moses did on the Red Sea. And they're alive. But because of the miracle, both of them end up changed, especially the theater actor, who gets turned into basically a satyr-looking demon. And so he becomes the incarnation of Satan, or Shaitan, as they say. And the movie star is the incarnation of the angel Gabriel, or Gabriel, as they call him. And so it goes through kind of the story jumps around a lot, and there's so many details to the story. I'm just going to tell you one of the plot lines, because there are so many going on that these characters are pivotal points to. At one point, prior to getting in this hijacking, the guy whose name is actually Gabriel Farishta, who is the movie star, he ends up quitting being a movie star, just abruptly retiring and disappearing, because he falls in love with a woman and wants to chase her back to London, chase after her to go back to London. But in the midst of him having this identity crisis about leaving India and leaving his lifestyle and all this stuff, he has these dreams where he is the angel Gabriel. And it's like he's reliving things that have happened. So, Mahund, who becomes Muhammad later, or is identified as Muhammad later, becomes one of the prophets, or the prophet, I should say. He has interactions with with him in these dreams, and they're so real. The biggest thing, and I think the thing that pisses off people the most, is that Gabriel does not have power to make things happen. He is the conduit in which others gain the power to make things happen. So it is by the will of the people he's interacting with that things happen. So like the prophecies of Muhammad are Muhammad's ideals and will. He is just the conduit which gives him the power to take on that responsibility as a prophet. So it is not him being the supernatural being that makes things happen. He just happens to be basically the battery that makes everybody else's will happen. And so that is an extremely controversial part of the story and the theology in Muslim and Islamic culture.
Okay.
Also, in doing so, Chamcha, who is the theater actor / TV actor, comes back entirely transformed. He's basically lost his wife because in the period of time that they were in the hijacking, which was several hundred days, first they were on the ground, stuck inside this plane, then they were in the air, and then they were on the ground again. It was a whole big convoluted thing. His wife has just kind of moved on because she's assumed he's dead. And of course, after the explosion of the plane, for sure, they think everybody's dead. Until these two guys kind of show up and they're like, oh, we didn't expect anybody to be alive. He's the incarnation of Satan, or the devil, or Baal, or whatever you want to call him. And he comes back, he's basically lost everything. Whereas this other guy is just gaining everything. Mm-hmm. And so he's kind of stuck in this attic at these friends' houses, continuously becoming more and more demonic looking over time. And as he dwells in this space, the people in the community that live near him who don't know him, or don't know that he's there, start having dreams about him, and start interpreting that as they need to have some kind of uprising. Because they live in a part of London that deals with a lot of racism. Most of them are Indian or Muslim or some kind of brown or black person, as they identify as. And they start having dreams about this guy and start thinking that this is the incarnation of our revolution. Till one day he finally steps out of the attic and they're like, oh shit, he's real! So then they start using him as a symbol for revolution. But he's just like, no, I just need to go find Gabriel. And the entire story is them just kind of becoming this incarnation, and then this battle between the two of them with these identities, trying to basically take over London and refine their identities as humans or people, on top of refining their identities as the incarnation of these other beings. So it's really a story more about identity and kind of poking fun at religion in general and people and how humans morph it into something else over time. And it often loses originally what it was. Mm-hmm. It also reads very much like a Monty Python script. So it's done with a lot of absurd, like, humor where everybody's just kind of like at no point, except one point, does anybody think that anything that's happening is not mental illness. At first. Like, they're just totally, like, in this whole thing, superstitious, but so many absurd things happen. And in the midst of the seriousness, they're just like, oh, yeah, of course. Of course I saw the ghost of so-and-so. Of course my dead lover, who committed suicide and killed her after killing her own children, just keeps showing up. On a magic carpet. Just showing up. Mm-hmm. You know, those kinds of things. So it's kind of written with this almost, like, satirical, absurd humor that's very, like, Monty Python-esque. For me, this book is now one of my new favorite books.
Okay.
There's so much going on. That is just a very basic storyline. There are so many other characters introduced to this that they touch on the lives of. It is an absolute whirlwind. It's so fun. It's very playful. It asks a lot of great philosophical questions. It asks a lot of great questions about identity, like the pros and cons of having an identity in a religion, in a culture, and what that means to people. Mm-hmm. Especially people who are coming from a very opposite culture, such as being collectivist and then individualist and like Western culture is, or what it looks like to fight colonization when you've been so ingrained in it, or what it looks like when you want to be fully colonized and want to let go of your previous culture so as to be more accepted, but you can't be fully accepted because of the color of your skin and the type of accent you have. So it just talks so much about so many different philosophical topics, social issues, religious issues. This is such a deep and thought-provoking book, but it does it in such a way that is extremely entertaining and very, very fun and approachable. But I also understand why people would take that very offensively, because nobody wants the seriousness of their religion to be, one, questioned, and two, made light of. And that's definitely done in this book a lot. So this is a top tale for me. I found mine at Goodwill. I've seen a few of these actually out and about in thrift stores and stuff, so you'd probably come across one of these, of course, online. A very available book.
Might find one with a knife in it.
You might. You might find one that's got parts blacked out. You might find some that has some really offensive, maybe notes written in the side, the margins, who knows. But this was an extremely thought-provoking book. And I have to say, some of my knowledge of the Quran, when I was in high school, I was doing some personal seeking, and I actually read the Quran in English, neither of which you're supposed to do. It's very much against the religion is, if you're not Muslim, don't read the Quran, and the Quran is not supposed to be translated into English, ever. It has to be taken in its original language. But I did read it. That was helpful to me in this story, because then I understood who some of the characters were, especially the ones who were religiously significant, because otherwise you feel like you're kind of walking into a conversation blind. Because everybody has their original names, like Malhoun being Muhammad later, and who his wife was. If you understand, too, the history of Muhammad at all, if you've taken any world history or world religions classes, he was a merchant as well as becoming a prophet. And they try in the story of his life as well as in here to use that against him and try to tempt him with basically becoming a part of a guild that he's never been able to break into if he accepts certain gods and goddesses into his religion. And so having that conflict internally with himself and having to fight with the angel Gabriel, so to speak, was a big part of that storyline and a big pivotal thing that I think a lot of people were upset about, especially in Muslim community, because like this tells it in a way that is not theologically sound in their understanding of it. So if you do have some understanding at least of world religions and at least a little bit of the Muslim culture and theology, that is helpful with this book. But even if you walk into it kind of going in blind, the characters are written interestingly enough that you don't really need to know that. However, it is helpful if you want to understand why this is such a controversial book. But if you just want to be entertained, you don't have to have that. But this was just a really fantastic read. And there's just a fun smattering of really colorful and interesting characters. There's no one in this story that's boring.
Okay.
Like, even this allegedly boring character, they call him Jumpy, because he's a real jumpy guy, not as boring as they make him out to be in the story.
Right.
So there's just everyone in the story who's mentioned is significant. It all comes full circle. Everybody is important to the storyline. Every single character that is introduced perpetuates the storyline. Absolutely no one is just kind of showing up and useless. They are important for the understanding of everything that's going on, which is unique. Usually there's just kind of some fluff characters who are there for dialogue to fill in some spots. There really isn't in this story. They're all very important.
Okay.
So it's just a really, really good read. Probably one of the best reads of the year thus far for me.
Yeah.
And we're already halfway through the year. So I was blown away by this story. It's pretty fantastic. I only have about maybe 100 pages left in here.
Mm-hmm.
I actually am going back to a couple of the sections too because they're mythos that I didn't know about, like Muslim culture or mythos about the angel Gabriel from other cultures that I wasn't aware of. So going back and kind of learning those stories in their original form is something I've been kind of digging into. But very haphazardly, like, I don't feel like you need to do those kinds of things again if you're coming into this story. But it's a great read. Mm-hmm. Top tale for sure. I highly recommend it to anybody. Like, this is a great myth, a great fiction.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, very controversial piece.
Okay.
So, you might piss off some people if they see you reading it. I did. And people being like, why would you read that? It's really not about what you think it is. Yes, it has satanic on it, but...
Well, even if it was satanic, it's a work of fiction.
Yes, the whole point is it's fiction. And it's meant to be a fiction. And yes, it's by a guy who is an atheist, so he doesn't have a lot of respect for the religions, but, you know, that's why it's fiction.
Yeah.
You know? We don't sit here taking Harry Potter seriously because it's got magic in it. Right. That's not real.
Right.
But a lot of people take it very seriously because of that. And whatever, man. So, fantastic read.
Okay. I've never read anything by him. Anything, that or anything else by Rushdie.
Yeah.
Rushdie, so.
I was reading something else that we were supposed to read together for Telltale. And I just happened to pick this up and I was like, I kind of feel like I need a just for fun read on the in-between. And I ended up just ditching the other reading altogether because I'm like, this is distracting. It is so good. There's so many details. I am enjoying this so much more than the other one, and I can't finish the other one until I finish this one. So Greg was like, absolutely, go ahead. We'll finish the other one another time. So we're going to do that eventually and get a video for that one. But this was just blowing me away so much. I was so distracted. Even in the short stories and stuff, I didn't read those until that we were supposed to be reading for this series of video shoots. I didn't read those until Sunday, and it is now Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday.
It's
now Wednesday. And so I only just first read those on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, and I still have 100 pages or so that I need to finish in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I highly recommend it. Go find it. What did you think about it if you have read it? If you are a person who was offended by it, feel free to engage in conversation. Please be respectful of everyone's beliefs, not just yours. And let's not have any kind of discussion that is hateful towards one another. But you can have good critiques of the book for any number of reasons, including belief systems. So please keep your conversations focused on that.
But word of warning, reading this book will turn you into a Smurf.
Yeah, I'll turn you into a little blue-haired thing. No, I just felt like playing dress up today.
I just had to say that.
Yes, I too have been changed from reading this book. Now I'm an angel. No, I'm kidding.
Just that's
kidding.
Not what I had,
I'm a demon.
What I had in mind.
Now I'm a demon.
Yeah.
It's much more threatening. Anyway, so again, like and subscribe, engage with us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.